Welcome back. Firehouse Image Center in Indianapolis has been a pioneer in wide format graphics since before inkjet was part of the equation, and they're still innovating today. So it's very, very much my pleasure to welcome to the program the CEO of Firehouse Image Center, Terry Corman. Terry, welcome. It's great to have you.
Steve, it's good to be with you today. You're looking terrific.
And you as well, my friend.
Thank you.
So for the benefit of our attendees who are not familiar with your background, haven't seen you speak before, please tell us a little bit about Firehouse.
Okay, well, I bought a little broken down photo lab in 1989 in downtown Indianapolis. And as the years went by, we saw the photo lab industry die. And as that was happening, we segued into wide format. Still kept the photo. And today we're in a 30,000 square foot building in downtown Indianapolis. And we do a number of different disciplines. We have an indigo, we still do photo, we do fabric, and we do wide format, flat and rolled. So that's pretty much where we are today.
That's very interesting. And you mentioned that you transitioned away from being a photo lab. You mentioned all the different technologies that you've put in place over the years. And about 3 or 4 years ago, you began another transition for your business when you began to really look at e-commerce and web to print as a possibility. Can you give us some background about what led to that strategic decision and how you began to pursue it at Firehouse?
Exactly. I mean, in 1999, I went to the Photo Lab Owners Association meeting. It was the biggest one of its kind. It was held in Maui. Everybody paid their own expenses. And it was very heady times in the photo lab industry. 4 years later, in 2003, the Photo Lab Owners Association had its last meeting. That was it. I happened to be president of the association at that last meeting. And what happened was automation. Automation consolidated the photo industry from thousands of players to a handful, and it did it in 4 years. So that was the genesis of me saying, one of these days, there will be a path for wide format to seek automation. And that's been my journey since 2003.
Well, and I know that you've been a very big believer in automation all along, from the traditional print side, as well as to the customer interface side and the e-commerce side that we're talking about. How did you start down that path in terms of looking at what you needed in terms of technologies to support that initiative?
Yeah, that's a great question, because it is two different things. There's the customer-facing side, and there's the production side of automation. Basically, what happened is I kept my eye on the web to print companies, right? And so we see the largest web to print manufacturer in the world went to over $1 billion in sales. There were probably a dozen printers in the United States that did full automation, and they got between 50 and 100 million in sales. And then there was the breakthrough in the wide format side, because wide format is more difficult to automate than, say, sheet fed. Okay? And the technical reasons are just multiple substrates. But I watched that unfold. To fully automate, and these are my numbers, they're not industry numbers, it's just my personal research. To fully automate and do a full web to print, totally automated production facility, the software would cost in the $10 to $12 million range. So it was out of reach of the normal human beings. But several people spent that kind of money and have done it. And then just recently, the possibility of having that software be affordable for somebody like me has come into play.
And so what were some of the tools, Terry, that you began to put into your workflow to begin working towards that goal of having that automated customer interface on the front end, and then having the automated interface between order entry, production on the back?
Okay, without being too complex, we got to the point somewhere in 15 where we were taking orders from a customer with packets of information, and we were doing one-offs for them. That was fully automated we actually held the archive, so we weren't doing pre-press on that, and we were doing 10,000 one-offs a day on 2 continents. That was one level of automation. But I'd hope we would be able to get to the point where somebody would develop the software so that you could do all types of substrates from random files, and that has happened. And it's just in its infancy. So that's basically. And if you want me to go into the source of it and the genesis of it, I'll do that right now. Is that what
Yes,
you'd like?
no, please do, Chair. Please be specific.
Okay, so there's the front end of automation and there's the back end of automation. The front end is a customer-facing automation, and there's more than one way to do that. I think what most people see are web-to-print websites, but most web-to-print websites, the order comes through the website, and then somebody has to write it up after that's over. So to automate the order writing and the pricing and all of that is one huge task. And I had heard through the grapevine that Durst had software engineers working on that. And so I'm good friends with a lot of industry people, and I started to inquire about that software. And actually it ended up being 2 types of software. Durst has a web-to-print software, and they have a customer-facing software called Lift ERP. And being the brave soul that I am, I bought both of them. So we have put together a web-to-print website. If you go to our website, you'll see the web-to-print website. And we also have Lift ERP, where clients can have private sites with their own pricing and everything they would need to do to order their own orders. And that existed. And then Durst explained that they also had an automated pre-press system as well. And these things were being developed in different parts of the world. So I inquired of Durst, and they said, okay, if you really want to play this, because there are only 1 or 2 or maybe no other people that have tried to do all of this. If you really want to do this, then you're going to have to make a commitment to us, and we will make a commitment to you. And that's basically what we've been doing. Since the fall of 18, we've been working on Lift, and we've been working on the web-to-print website. And right now, we are working with Durst software to put the full pre-press product together and link it all together. Now, that said, this is pretty new stuff. The software talks to the new Durst P5 printer.
Which you installed just a few months ago.
Yes, right. Yeah, just 3 or 4 weeks ago, actually. Elegant device, and it talks to this automated pre-press software. And I'm not a techie. I don't know how to do anything. I think I might know why to do things. So that was the genesis of buying the machine, and we're currently working to get the pre-press side of it done. It's not done, but I can tell you today, I listened into a discussion of software. It went almost 2 hours. There was a developer for Durst in Germany. There was one in Ohio, and there was one in Minneapolis. And my people were working with them to get everything to talk together. Okay, and so that's the genesis of buying the P5 and looking at the software.
Do me a favor and take me through a little bit. We were talking about this earlier. Take me through what a typical order looks like now that you have these pieces in place, in terms of what happens when the customer places an order with you and how they do so, what happens in terms of the customer and the job being approved and then getting it into production, and how quickly that happens.
Okay, so from the web-to-print website, the client can go on, and it has an image archive so that they can get a single-use image from the Adobe archive, and it also has a full design module, so they can completely design whatever they want. when we saw that, we kind of fell out of our chairs and went, what's the cost to design a sign? If we provide this to the industry, how much money could somebody save if they could design their own sign? I've actually done one myself, and I'm not a designer, and like I said, I don't know how to do anything, and actually made it work. So that's on the web to print website, and those files that come out of the web to print website are print ready. They're ready to go. And you can design a box, you can design wallpaper, you can do photo, anything you can imagine you can design. And we have written the pre-press channels using the Durst software so that those files go directly to the press. Okay? So on the personal side, the lift side, where a client has their own private interface, they have their own library of the products that they order. They have their own pricing. They have levels of pricing, and they can order on a computer, on an iPad, or on their cell phone. And what we're finding right now is that a lot of our clients are working from home, and they might take Friday afternoon off knowing that they're going to place an order or do some work on Sunday afternoon or something. We're starting to get quite a few orders on Sundays. And so somebody goes onto Lyft ERP, they go to their private site, they log on, they find their products in a library. They can also approve any files that are ready to print. They can track any order any place in the building, and they can get their own tracking information from FedEx or UPS. So it's everything they would want to ask us for in a phone call or in an email or in a text message is all on their private site. And there's some funny stories that we've had about clients going, how come this order hasn't shipped yet? Talking to salespeople that are driving home on Friday nights, and it shipped. But it's a totally transparent for the client. So that's in place, and it's been in place. The things that we're working on feverishly now, and Durst is working feverishly on too. It's all done. It's all done, but it doesn't all talk to itself yet. But we're only about 2 weeks away. So now a client can get on, upload a file, and this will happen in a week or two. It's working in testing, but we can't turn it loose yet. Client will get on their own private site on Lyft ERP, upload a file, and send it to us. And the Durst software will do 130 different tests on it, and it'll make the print-ready file and give them the file for them to approve in under a minute and a half or something like that. So they can place an order and be ready. It can be ready to print in a minute and a half or so. And then if they hit approve print, it goes directly to the press. So where in the past, we may have had a half a day or an hour or maybe even a whole day waiting for a pre-press person to create the approval file, it happens automatically.
And how much of your workflow now, just a few years after you started transitioning to web to print, how much of your total business is coming off of the Lyft system or off your website?
Yesterday it was 61%.
Wow. So that's a big change in your business. Now, you mentioned the P5 printer earlier, and you were telling me when we spoke yesterday that the P5 has got some features that support that type of workflow that you have in terms of needing to change jobs quickly, turn jobs around quickly. Can you explain how that printer is fitting into your production environment?
Yeah, the P5 is designed to run all the time, and you have the ability. One of the things that happens as anybody who's in the white format business will know, if you've got to break down a job for another role of something, it can take 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever, to put a roll of PSV on, and then you got to go to 13-ounce vinyls, right? So those breakdown times take forever. The P5 has the least amount of leader to get the thing to run, but it also has the ability to have the rolls already mounted and ready to go. So if one material is done, the next one is already there on a roll, and you just pull it through and get it to run. Plus, the P5 will run 2 separate jobs from different files at the same time, and they don't have to run sequentially. It's hard to explain. It'll run 2 different jobs at 2 different levels. So it's pretty amazing technology. The P5 also rates the operator, and it rates the shift, and it rates the company as to how we're using it. And it's got a little rating system, and it sends PDFs and job costing to guys like me. So if it's not going swimmingly, then it says, oh, this operator is not doing what you need to do. So it's a wonderful machine. There's a lot of great machinery in the industry, but the P5 is really ready for this automation and ready to rock it. So.
Now, the analytics that you mentioned, that's another software component that comes with the machine, correct?
Yes. There are actually 5 separate pieces of technology, 5 different software packages that we're working and putting together, maybe for the first time. I don't know everything about their software, but I think if we're not number 1, we're pretty close. So there's a workflow software that comes with the P5 that allows anyone to get the benefits of a lot of automation. And then there's analytics, which is a separate package which analyzes what's going on for the shift, and it also does the job costing PDFs. So, and the one thing that we're working on now, and I don't even know that it has a name, but we're calling it Workflow Plus, and that's the automated pre-press software that works. And every time we ask a question, will it won't do the pre-press for this? Yeah, it will.
And that ties right back into the idea of automation, how critical that is, how critical adaptability is with the business model that you've adopted. And Terry, we're almost out of time. I just want to thank you so much for joining us during the program. And one quick word, how critical is automation moving forward for this particular industry?
Well, the printing industry is a very big and diverse industry, and it has a lot of different sized businesses. I don't think there's one prediction that fits everything. I think you could have made that prediction for the photo industry because there was basically just one white point. There's a lot of different substrates in a lot of different ways. In my world of wide format, the way we do it, I could rattle off the web to print printers out there, and I could rattle off how much they're doing in sales, and it's a very, very, very big number. I would say if you're in a wide format business, you really want to look at it. There's time. There's still plenty of time, but it's something you need to look at. Yeah, and Durst has a really well thought out, elegant solution, and we're right at the beginning of it.
Well, very good. Terry,
right.
Thank you very much. We'll continue the conversation the next time we get together. Hopefully that's soon.
I hope so.
I do too. And thanks once again for joining us.
It's good to see you. Thank you so much. You take care.
You too, Terry.
Bye-bye.